Welcome to The Chair with CloraShay. Today I have the pleasure of having a conversation with someone I consider to be a very good friend. This is our very next Constable for District 57 here in Birmingham, Alabama, Jefferson County. I'm proud to introduce to you Mr. Abdul Alwahiid. Welcome to The Chair.
Thank you.
So, how was your drive? Was it okay?
It was pleasant.
It was pleasant.
Little traffic, but not too bad.
Not too bad. I appreciate you coming out and having a conversation with me today. It means more than you know. I want to start out by congratulating you on your new position, being elected.
Thank you.
As the Constable for District 57. Mm-hmm. Will you please give me an idea of what exactly a constable does? What is that position?
A constable is an elected peace officer for the state of Alabama.
Okay.
And what that entails is that not only is the constable has the responsibility of keeping the peace, elected law enforcement, but he's the messenger for the courts.
Okay.
Therefore, if you fall behind on your obligations to pay your bills, if that merchant begins to sue you, they will initiate a file through the court system. The court system would then dispatch the constable to your address to notify you of the intended lawsuit.
I get it.
Right.
So you're the person that look at them and say you're being served.
A process server for the most part, right. And we also initiate the eviction process.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't hear that from me. But that is a very important position, and I think so because I think it's less of a threat, visual threat, to see someone that's not in full uniform all the time coming and knocking on doors. Do you have to wear full uniform all the time?
It's the discretion of each constable.
Okay, it's a discretion. So being a constable, do you consider that being of service?
Definitely a service that you can provide to the community, because you can't give legal advice, but me being an entrepreneur as well, I can offer opportunity, because the minimum amount they will garnish in the event the suit is actually put in place. It's like 24% of your income.
Wow, that can be a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. Right. So I can assist in helping you compensate for that 24% lost by offering opportunity.
Oh, really? And I wonder if any other constable is being as concerned for the people as that. I've never heard of anyone offering you an opportunity to earn the money to pay the courts back to keep you in good standing. What actually pushed you to decide to want to offer the opportunity for them to earn an income?
Well, I've been served before myself, so I understand what that feels like. If you operate on 100% of your income, and some of us 105, because we have to borrow sometimes.
Right.
And that 24% is going to drop you down, and you 76% of your income.
Goodness.
That's going to hurt. Yeah.
So
I needed opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't there.
And it wasn't there.
So that 24%, if we think about it, that's after taxes or before? Do they garnish before, do you know?
Are they going to get what you bring home? They're going to get 24% of what you bring home.
Oh, wow. So after the government hit you for about 15%, then you got this 24% that's coming out your income. So you're left in a position to where you're going to need help. I want to say that's very commendable for you to even offer an opportunity for someone to have another income to pay that. I never heard of that. That's the first time for me. I want to know, tell me a little bit about your growing up.
Well, I grew up in the Winona area.
Okay.
The area right below New Hill, which is very popular at one time.
Okay.
So I've been through some things and had to make decisions in the jungle for the sake of survival.
What's the jungle? Tell me about the jungle.
Well, of course, during the 90s when we were coming up, that is the crack era.
Right, absolutely.
And that's when a lot of drug activity actually hit the streets.
Absolutely.
So we were introduced to people who they would consider to be crackheads,
Yeah.
and they were all around. So
Everywhere.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I understand that now.
Right.
So, what would you say created a space for you to decide to go in a different direction?
My parents played an influential role. They kept their hands on me.
Okay.
They were very hands-on and made sure that, hey, if I'm gonna live in their residence, these are the rules. Bottom line. So you ain't gonna keep going in and out that door.
Right.
You ain't gonna go outside eating unless you had enough to feed the neighborhood. I mean, they stuck to all the rules.
So
And I had
not
to
leaving
follow.
the door open.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then,
Wow.
my friends will often be out playing street football, and I wanted to go, but you can't go out there until you finish mowing the lawn,
Oh,
wash the dishes, pick up the trash, take the trash out to the curb. So I had to take care of my chores first,
wow.
take care of business, and then I was allowed to play.
So, is it fair to say that accountability had a lot to do with it?
Absolutely.
And I think that's something our youth are really missing these days is accountability. When I think about our crime rate here in the city, it has, in my opinion, it has skyrocketed from when we were growing up. Although we were in, as you stated, the jungle, not only were there crackheads, we also had the gangs. And whether they were the big ones that came down from out west or east coast, or they were high school gangs, different organizations grouping together, causing damage to the city, but it was never like this. What do you think we can do as a community to influence our youth to be accountable for their actions? Is there anything left for us to do? Because if not, then how can we continue to raise the children that we have that are not participating and feel safe? What could we do for that?
I will definitely start by being what we speak. Oftentimes our kids are influenced by the parents they spend the most time with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we have to be aware of that we are influencing some of our children. Now, you have some that's going to do what they want to do anyway.
Absolutely.
You can't help that.
Absolutely.
But as far as making a difference, we have to stand on business. We have to be the expectation.
We do have to be the expectation, but I struggle with that myself sometimes after coming out of the school system for so many years, because it's only so much we can do individually. I like that term, be the expectation. But how do we hone in on, just your opinion, how do we hone in on the parents that are at home to get them to become a collective with us and make them accountable? And I'm asking that question because I know, just as you, I had parents that kept their hands on me. They kept me in everything and made sure that I did what I needed to do before I could go outside and play and have fun. I know these kids these days don't understand what going outside was and how valuable it was to us. But we had a sense of community. If I got in trouble at school, I would get fussed at or even a spanking at least twice on the way home. Because for some reason word traveled before I got out of school, and the neighbors kept us accountable. How can we get these parents to even buy in on something like that when now it's to the point where they don't even want us to say anything to these kids? How can we do that?
Well, sometimes, we have conversations in private, me and other people who are in schools, mentoring and stuff. And the most hardest part about mentoring is that when you mentor that child, you have to send that child back to the environment that called for that child to be mentored in the
Right.
first place, right?
Right.
So I think what needs to happen
Jesus.
is that some of these nonprofit organizations that are catering to our youth, we also need nonprofit organizations that cater to the parent as well.
Oh, that's a good
So you're
idea.
gonna have to establish
Right.
and change that environment. So a lot of nonprofits definitely need. That's why organizations are very important. Now we all need roles. Okay, I'm
Right.
gonna handle the youth. You handle the parents, and that's how we target all angles because it's so many different layers that contribute to our demise. You
Wow.
know, so if we organize the organizations because the organizations are disorganized.
Oh, they are, and there's so many of them in different levels, such as even the churches. The churches are not like they used to be when I was growing up. When I was growing up, everybody in the church had a hand on you in some form or fashion, whether they were your teacher from the school that you went to in the same neighborhood, or they were a part of your grandmother's social and savings club. These were people you saw constantly, and you were taught to respect these people, and they in turn respected you as well. But we were willing to listen. I think that's a really good idea. I never thought about that. So that's a lot to deal with. You know, with you having this position, you're knocking on these doors, you get a chance to see some stuff. Can that be an opportunity as well?
Absolutely. You know, if they are willing to help themselves, then I'm willing to help as well.
I like that.
Just knocking on that door and getting that person to come to the door to have that conversation like, hey, some people don't want to take it. Some
Right.
people don't want to deal with the issue. So the issue is now starting to deal with you, you
Right.
know. But hey, man, look, if you communicate with this depth to them,
That's right.
then maybe you can control the amount that they take from you. Because at the end of the day, they are going to take from you,
Period.
right? So you can control that just by communicating.
I like that. That I'm sure that puts a lot of pressure on you sometimes. So in your position, dealing with what you deal with on a day-to-day basis, what do you do to pull away and relax?
Well, I've taken on hobbies like flying a drone, you know, stuff like that. But just I stay busy a lot. However, you know, when you get so used to it, you know, and it becomes a part of who you are, you don't need to decompress. It's just what you do, you know.
It's part of what makes you who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good thing because a lot of times we tend to take on roles with the intent to bring about change or offer a positive choice for people to make outside of what they're used to, and we end up taking too much in for ourselves. I've done it, but to hear you say that it's not a problem, it speaks a lot for your heart and what you're really doing for our community, and I appreciate that. I'm sure our viewers would appreciate it as well. But I'm gonna be a little nosy for a minute, and I want to ask you, over the years, what challenges have you faced that made you divot in the direction of anything dealing with law enforcement?
You ever heard someone say, I'm gonna try to be good. They tell you to be good, I'm gonna try. Because in this society, doing the wrong thing is so natural.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you have
It's
to
easy.
try. Right.
It's
it is.
easy.
So you have to try to be good because bad is more natural. That's where it seems
Yeah,
in this society.
it's comfortable.
Right. It is. So of course, just really dealing with your own demons. You know, you got to come to grips with who you are. And I know oftentimes one of my demons is procrastinating. You know, so I kind of procrastinate on things, and I allow situations to sometimes handle me, you know.
Yeah.
So in practice, I'm trying to get ahead and be more proactive because I've been reactive for so long. I've been reactive, reacting to different things, situations that I could have gotten ahead of. So that's a
Mm.
demon for me, and I'm challenging that.
But I don't even, I don't think, well, I know for a fact it's not just you. Because even with coming to terms with who you are as a person, when you look in the mirror and have to accept who you are, the actions you've taken for certain situations, and your consequences, it can cause you to want to wait before you really accept accountability for it. Um, I've wondered if it was something that was within myself, if it was bred in me. And what I mean by that is if it was something that was, I don't want to say taught to me with my family, but my family was the one that always kind of swept things under the rug. Shh, we don't talk about that. We'll do it later. That type of stuff. My immediate family, the ones that raised me. And I also procrastinated with a lot of things, especially when it came to career choices. And when I had to take accountability and look in the mirror and say, well, you can't blame anybody else anymore. You did this. You have an option of choice, and this is the route you chose to take. So you have to accept accountability for it. And I think the problem with the accepting accountability is that it hurts to admit that you did this. And I know from my experience with procrastination, that was also, as you stated, that was also my demon. So what can you do? What can our viewers do to adjust their procrastination if it's something they really need to handle?
Affirmations are very important. They
Oh,
start your
yeah.
day. You got to have those affirmations in place. The first thing I do, I wake up, I have two affirmations that sit right there in front of me, and I look over at them as a reminder. And I think uh, um, once you get that in your thought process and it continues to repeat itself, then you can bring it to life.
That's good. And I think it's also good if you have someone else in your life to confirm what you've affirmed. And I'm grateful that I did. I had my dad. My dad was my number one, that was my number one support, my number one cheerleader. And when he was around, he did confirm some things for me that I had to learn to affirm. I didn't know anything about it, of course, affirmations while we were growing up. However, having confidence was important for me, but I still procrastinated. I waited. I wanted to wait stuff out just to see if things would change before I had to make a change. And affirmations are important. They are important. If you could go anywhere in the world and change a community for the better, offer them one thing that would make their world flip at 180 degrees, where would you go and what would you offer them?
The place that I will go and I've been to is Egypt. You know, and one thing about Egypt is that I would love to help connect the dots. As far as the spirituality,
Right.
as far as what they have to offer, and how important the unity would be in order to reestablish what has been broken for so many years, as well as dynasties.
Wow, that's powerful. That's a lot. I think it can be done too, but it would really take a community to help you get to that point, and I think it could be done. That's a great dream. Is it fair to say that that's a good dream to have?
I would love to see it being brought into fruition because the spirituality is there.
Right.
Some people attribute the things that we go through in America to poverty,
Mm-hmm.
but that is a third world country, and they are able to leave because a lot of them are entrepreneurs. A lot of they selling goes on right on the streets,
Mm.
and so they walk away from their product overnight and come back the next morning. Nobody touches anything.
So there's an honor system in place.
There's an honor system in place,
and it's understood.
yes.
I've experienced that when I lived in Japan. They have a similar honor system in place. And it's amazing how you can go to a different continent, a different country, and see things that work, that comes from integrity, that you wouldn't dare try here in America because there's a lot of dishonesty. I really think it's important that we understand the importance of integrity with our neighbor, because even the good book says you reap what you sow. What a man soweth, he shall also reap. So if over there they're sowing honesty and integrity, they're going to always be prosperous. That's something I didn't think about. That's good. That's good.
I believe the biggest difference between there and here is that some of us are poverty stricken as well.
Mm-hmm.
They are third world countries, so they are kind of below poverty there.
Mm-hmm.
However, their mindset is rich. Their spirit is rich. Here, a lot of us are in poverty as well as our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a double barrel for us here, as opposed to there. At least the balance is the
Right.
rich in spirituality.
I can see that. I think we also deal with a lot of brokenness, broken hearts, broken promises, and I know it's fair to say that some of it is systematic, but again, it goes to choices made. Okay, and when I experience the kids that we have here in Alabama, with all of this crime and violence we have going on, there's a lot of brokenness. And I know my friends and I converse about it sometimes, and I tell them my opinion is we're dealing with a lot of the grandkids and the great-grandkids of the crack generation from the jungle. Those people addicted to drugs had kids. Because of their addiction, they weren't there to raise their children. Those children were drug babies, and they had kids. There was nobody there to teach them. So they don't understand consequences. They don't understand affirmations. They don't understand accountability. So what can we do to get them to understand that it's really not their fault, but they're still responsible for their choices? If we were to get a handful of adults together and have a conversation about options for these kids, what would be the number one thing that you would suggest that we could do?
As far as getting the kids on the same page?
Yeah.
I would definitely place emphasis on the importance of interaction, togetherness, and I think that's a big part of the community that we had. We had surrogate mothers and surrogate fathers. So I think to be able to interact, to exchange ideas or just to agree to disagree would be something. Conflict resolution.
Yes. Because they don't understand consequences. They don't understand. And we were taught consequences growing up. We knew that there would be a reaction to our actions, and we understood how it played out. I want to ask you one last question before we end. What other areas in law enforcement are you connected to? And are you willing to use that as a segue for the community?
One avenue of law enforcement, of course, I was reserving for the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, which means I was donating my time
Okay.
to the assist those deputies in their day-to-day activities. So I got a chance to see what life is like from that side of things, to show up on a scene that's heated, to come to crime scenes out there. Certain things have taken place, and you have to clean that crime scene up afterwards. So I've been through all of that. So I saw young people, you know, in unimaginable circumstances, you know. So I have been through that, as well as just doing the as a deputy constable since 2012. So I've been around it a lot, and of course a bailiff in the courtroom. Yeah,
That's amazing. You know, I really want to tip my imaginary hat to you because it really takes a heart of all hearts to be able to deal with those type of issues. I don't think I could handle it emotionally or psychologically. And I'm sure a lot of the viewers feel the same way. However, I'm glad that you were willing to come and sit down so that our viewers can see that you are still a person, that you're a regular person just like us.
oh yeah,
And that you are willing to assist if they are willing to receive it. I want to know if you would be willing to come back and visit us again
absolutely.
and have a little bit more in-depth conversation. And I might get a little nosy and get in your business a little bit.
That's fine.
Nothing negative.
That's fine. I'm transparent.
But I think it was to know and learn that you were doing as much as you were doing. I wanted the people to get to know who District 57's constable really is and what he's going to be doing for your district, what he is doing and what he has been doing. Is there anything you want to leave to the people today?
I would say definitely become aware, become a part of the solution, not the problem, and get out and mentor, get out and interact, and let's make a difference in our communities.
I appreciate that. And I'm grateful for our viewers paying attention for today. Thank you so much for watching The Chair with CloraShay. Remember this, accountability can either be your worst enemy or it can be your best friend. Join us again and find out who's next in The Chair.